All right. Hello. What's going on, everyone? How are you doing? Jay here. Welcome back to the onocoffee channel and our daily live stream, the Coffee Q&A. So we're here to talk about coffee, answer questions, and explore coffee better to hopefully help you make better coffee at home or even at work. So I'm your host, and we're back again. This is still Pulsar Week. We're working with the NextLevel Pulsar Brewer to see what it can do and maybe hopefully find the best pathway forward through the pulsar. So far, we've tried the Jonathan Gagne method. We've also tried the French, the multi-steep, and what's it called? Multi-steep and release. We did that one in the last episode. And today we're going to be doing something called the French no press. So basically the idea behind this is something that was promoted by ARAMSE on his channel. I got the link in the description down below. And basically this is a recipe that he kind of created for the next level, where you're taking the coffee and you're putting it in the brewer after you've actually add the water first, and then you put the coffee in, and then you do a bunch of stuff. And so we're going to try that and see how it turns out. Surprisingly, yesterday with the multi-steep release, I thought that was pretty good. Had nice results. I did try brewing the same coffee, our Peruvian Churupampa, in a Bonavita immersion dripper yesterday afternoon because I want, for my own drinking. And it helps remind me of the baseline for the coffee. This one that we did yesterday was a lot brighter, a little bit more expressive. So let's try this one and see what it's all about. So we're going to take our NextLevel Pulsar. We've got our components here. Remember that you want to make sure that when you're using this, you want to close the valve. Let's close the valve. I've done that once or twice. And then we need our filter. So we're going to set all this up because this particular brew recipe requires us to put the water first. So I'm putting that in here again, dry, and just using the body to hold it down. Okay, great. We got that ready. Now we're going to measure out. We need to have 18 grams of coffee. We're going to use 18 grams of coffee. We're going to use 306 milliliters of water. Now, this particular coffee, we're going to grind a lot finer than we have. We've been using 700, 800 microns, more or less. I mean, that's what the spec he lists. There we are, 18 grams. So we're going to go a bit finer on that. I think on our compact R80 for the current setting, we normally have it maybe right around, 10 o'clock, 10:30, or maybe 9:30, no more 10 o'clock. And now I'm going to push it to midnight on the verticality. Now, what does all that mean? It doesn't really mean anything, right? Because as the burrs on your grinder grind, they change, right? They will change. And so whatever setting you may have will be different, months from now, right? Like just because it's here right now does not mean it's going to be the same. So you always have to kind of pay attention to what you're doing and see the results and gauge that. Now, this particular grinder, I can recalibrate, meaning that I can disconnect this selector from the actual burrs and then reset the position of the burrs as well as the position of this to match whatever I want. So that's why I'm saying that when you see all these numbers and names on your grinders, in many respects, they're very arbitrary. They don't really mean anything from one grinder to the next. And that's when we had to teach our baristas, even though we're using the same type of, let's say, Mazda Major grinder for espresso, and you set one to, let's say, 8, that 8 means nothing. It only means something on that grinder at that time. You can't just go to another grinder and set it to 8, right? So that's one thing to think about. You always pay attention to your grind and how your grind is changing, how your results are changing, and then you can make adjustments as necessary. So, for example, as I'm making my own coffee here, like I'll make, let's say, like a French press, or let's say a pour over, or an immersion brew, I'll make it once. I'll have a setting that I'm choosing. I'll make a drink, Did I enjoy it? Did I like it? Were there things off about it? I'll just think about that so that the next time that I make one, I'll actually maybe make an adjustment to that to see if it'll compensate. And I would do that even behind the bar professionally as we're working throughout the day, just kind of thinking about the drinks or the results that we're getting, and then making adjustments, minor adjustments as we go along, right? So a lot of baristas will spend a lot of time dialing in their grind. I never spent a lot of time dialing in my grind because I didn't need to. I can make adjustments and move and roll with it without wasting so much coffee and so much time. All right, so we've got our 18 grams, so I'm going to grind it. That's right, we're going to a finer grind, 400 microns. Now, honestly, I don't know if it's going to be 400 microns. I don't have a way of measuring it. Our lab really hasn't been set up to measure that kind of thing. All right, so but here's our grind. It is a lot finer than the last one. Good morning, Dan. Do you have a preference between conical versus flat burrs? You know what? I used to have a lot of preference. Conical always better. You know, only conical burrs. But then, and you know what? Over time, the more you use something, and I've used both conical and flat, and I think a lot of it has to do with the quality of the burrs, the size of the burrs, as well as the speed of the burrs. And you know, I don't necessarily, they don't have to be very fast. They don't have to be, bigger is better, I think. To me, bigger is better. And the quality, the way that the quality of the burrs, I think Melkonig makes great burrs, Compact makes great burrs, Mazda, most of the companies will make great burrs. The ones that are a little bit kind of like, not sketchy, but maybe not necessarily focused on premium slicing, might be like Bun, maybe. But, you know, I've used the Bun G1 a lot, and that's been perfectly fine. You know, the question is, you know, how critical do you need? I think the more critical you need to be, like, especially when you get to espresso grinding, then you really need to pay more attention to that. Like, maybe not too fast, conical or flat. I think bigger is better. Bigger means that it has more grinding surface and can operate cooler, which I think is important. But you know what? If you're using any kind of grinder and you're getting nice results out of it that you enjoy, what else is there to worry about? That's really, to me, the bottom line, is that if you can get great results out of what you have, do you need to buy anything else? Some people say yes. Some people want to have the Weber. The Weber's cool. I've got to use it. It's really nice. But is it worth all that money for you? Is it worth spending all that money for the home? Well, I don't know. That's up for, you know, for some people to decide for. All right. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to take this. So let's go over the directions. We've got our grinder, our brewer. We're going to fill it with the 306 milliliters of water completely. Let me just heat that up a little bit more. And so what we need to do is we're going to fill it up, and then I'm looking at the directions here that I've written down. Now, the reason we're using finer grind, it says, ARAMSE says finer grind for good extraction because we're using less agitation. I don't know about that. Like my experience, you know, it's about exposure time, not necessarily agitation, right? So the longer that the coffee is in contact with the water, the more it extracts out. And we typically will, in full immersion, we'll typically grind very coarsely because we want to retard that extraction, right? The finer you grind, the more readily the coffee is going to release its essence. And then it can release too much and get more bitterness, right? We do coarser grinding typically, like in a French press, because we want to slow that down. We're going to use the same exposure time, about 3 to 4 minutes, but we want to slow that down because we don't want to have over extraction. This is going to be a whole different way of approaching it. We're going for finer grind, and we're actually going to go for much longer times. Well, it could be much longer. So the idea is to add the coffee, and then we're going to use the WDT to prod the coffee that's floating to get it to wet the grounds. And then after we wet the grounds, we're going to use a cupping spoon to do 3 to 5 stirs to wet the coffee. I don't know why we need to do both of those, but we're going to do both of those. It says we're supposed to do those. And then we're going to wait for 2 minutes, then 2 minutes. Then we're going to use the WDT to knock down the crust. And then our total time of setting it sit will be 4 to 6 minutes. Now, he says 4 to 6 minutes. And I don't really, I mean, that's a 2-minute spread. Like, that's a long, you can brew an entire cup in 2 minutes. Why you're giving such a wide spread, I don't really understand. Like, to me, it feels like 6 minutes is going to be way too much. Maybe we'll just go to 6 minutes. I was going to go to only 4, but maybe we'll let it ride all the way out to 6 to see what happens, right? What else? Oh, then he wants to do a gentle swirl to level the bed. All right, so these are some things that I think that, so Dan says, lots of hype over, well, I mean, you know, there's always, yes, for sure. I think a lot of this has to do, like my generation of barista. I started in the business in 2002. And I was very much a part of that whole third wave thing, which I guess is still going. I don't really know what's going on. What wave, specialty coffee, third wave, whatever. But we were the generation that really delved into espresso and, like, you know, try and started doing this whole, like, we're going to buy direct from, we're going to buy, you know, direct buying from the farms and do all this stuff, and which was very exciting and a great time. But, you know, we spent a lot of time, you know, talking about those things, grinders, because we really didn't know anything. And in many respects, the industry was still in a place of darkness as far as a lot of the knowledge. So there's a lot to experiment with, a lot to play with, a lot to try to understand, and of course, a lot of proselytizing along the way. The proselytization has not stopped, but, you know, at least we know a little bit more. So we're going to take this, and I have some doubts. I have my reservations about this recipe because I'm like, does any of this make sense? Like, for example, I need to have a WDT for this. Why do I want to take my dry rake and put it into wet? This bothers me. This does bother me, actually. So I'm going to put that to the side. And then we also need a cupping spoon. Why do we need a cupping spoon? I don't know. How about a soup spoon? Soup spoon works too. Actually, most of the time we're cupping, I'm actually using a soup spoon. But today, I thought I'd bust out my my Flex. This is was gifted to me. This is a cupping spoon. I think it's titanium. You know, some kind of like finished titanium. Look at that thing. Even has my name on it. How's that? There you are. This is my flexing. I've actually never used this spoon. This will be the first time that I've used this spoon. This was gifted to me when I was judging the Malaysian barista competition, the latte art championship. And actually, what I did notice that this is really, like, compared to like the steel ones or the silver ones, like traditionally these are silver. This is actually really light. Like, it's like super light. Brian Smith, he said, maybe those are just instructions to the masses, like buying a dry. Sorry, every time this, I don't understand. The one thing about my control center here from YouTube is that it has this little heart icon, right? So if I click on this heart icon, it'll give you a little heart, right? Or a little thing. But that heart is right over some of the comments. And whatever is in that last part of the sentence, I can't see. Buying a Drew shirt from the Gap. I hear you. Yes, it could very well be just, you know, I mean, he's certainly, but the thing is that he's certainly making a recipe for the masses. But the problem is that, do you need to have all these tools? Like, that's one thing that I'm a little bit, I kind of have a pushback against the enthusiasts in that, you know, I think everyone's trying to encourage you to buy so much gear. It's like, you don't need to buy gear. Like, I'm the manufacturer's worst. Like, this is why I'll probably never get sponsorship. It's like, don't buy gear. Stop buying gear, right? I'm not really here to tell you to buy. I'm like, tell you to don't buy. Stop buying. Buy what you need. All right. Anyway. let's get to the brewing. I'm going to put that down. Make sure you close your valve, right? The valve should be closed, so make sure that it's in a 3 or 6 o'clock position. I'm going to put that down here. Brian says, I never buy gear. You should never buy gear. All right, so here is, here's something that I got just recently. I got this for you guys. This is the new timer. This is by a company called LFF. This is on Amazon. There's a link in the description down below, and it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. I got it because I really wanted the big, display for you guys so you can easily see, like, as much as I love my bear timer, right? I love the bear timer. I love it, just the whimsy of it, right? And plus it's 100 yen, which is about $1, but it's hard to see on screen. So this, I wanted to get something that was big and you could see on screen. And so here's the thing, it's a little bit strange, right? Like, you want to adjust it, you can adjust the seconds. I'm still trying to figure this out. But evidently, if I want to adjust it, just hold that down to reset. You have to angle it 60 degrees. Oh, see, look at that. It does but now it'll do, no, it won't. I'm still trying to figure this out. It says like 60 degrees angle. See, now it's adjusting the just the minutes, but it does a little bit of seconds, which kind of makes me irritated. So we're gonna have to work on this and figure it out. But if you're interested, nice timer, big. It's got like different volume settings, so loud, not so loud, silent, and then it has some kind of like brighter, lighter, light, not so bright setting, but it's nice and big readouts. We can put that there, and that makes it nice. All right, so let us reset this. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add the water first. I'm going to pump that up a little bit. I'm really going to bring it high on the boil because I want to make sure that we have it as hot as possible. All right, so 306. And then we're going to add the coffee, which is really, look at this. This is really up on top. Now, prod. Darn it. Prod. All right, a little bit behind at the time, but I'm just poking it now to make sure that it gets wet. Okay, good. Now that's done. Let me rinse off my WDT. I don't really like to make that wet. I feel like it should only be dry, right? The WDT should only be dry. All right, so we're 21 seconds. The timer is the gear, absolutely. Actually, I think the timer is the coolest bit of this whole setup now. Huh? What do you think? What do you think? All right, so we are rolling. It doesn't really say when to do the wet coffee, so I'm going to do that now at the 1 minute mark. I'm going to give it some sloshing to make sure that all of this gets fully wet. Okay. Okay, good. I guess I could have done that at the 30-second mark. Okay, so we're waiting for the 2 minutes. And then at 2 minutes, we're going to knock down the crust with the WDT, although I probably just did that already. Oh, well, all these things are so difficult to figure out. Now, one thing about this method, you don't use we're not using this shower screen. I guess we'd use it to keep the warmth in, right? We keep the warm in. No, I just did that, so I have to wash it again, which just makes me more. Brian says, the timer's cool and I can see it. Please throw the bear. Hey, nobody throws the bear out. The bear stays. The bear stays. All right, so 2 minutes now. We're going to, I guess, give it a break. We're going to give it a break. Well, we already did that. Okay, so that's good. Now we're going to let it sit a total of 4 to 6. This is the part, the 4 to 6 minutes. I'm like, 4 to 6 minutes. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to that time, right? It's like 4 to 6. Like, why do you want to go longer? I wish he would have given more detail on that. Maybe he did. Maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention. That could be. Could be. I'm really bad at like watching videos about coffee. It's kind of like, huh? Let's go quickly. Wilson, good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. We are using the NextLevel Pulsar to make what we call the French no-press brew recipe by ARAMSE. Link in the description down below. And we're almost there. We're waiting now for 4 minutes. 4 minutes is the first, I guess, milestone, because it says we're waiting for a total of 4 to 6 minutes. And I don't know what we're waiting for. Like there's a big part of me that's just kind of like screaming that we should just stop at 4 minutes. Like we should stop at 4 minutes. But we're going to go all the way to 6 to see what it's like. All right, so there's nothing happening here. There's this just kind of sitting there. So not terribly exciting. Normally when I'm making coffee for myself, I'm just going to go back to the computer and like do whatever, or maybe whatever I'm working on, go back to that and wait for the beeping to happen. Now this one, of course, it's counting up, not down. So the beeping will not happen. So, but I thought I'd share with you while we're waiting what I've been working on. This is some project I've been working on here. This is what's called the ginger bug. So what this is basically some water with chopped ginger, sugar, and we're letting natural yeast ferment the ginger to make a ginger beer. And it's starting to get nice and fermenty smelling. Like, unfortunately, where I have it, like here at the roastery, it's not terribly warm. Like if I had done this, if I'd started this in the summertime, we'd have gangbuster results. Right now, fermentation is slow, so it's taking a while. It's been like, I started this on the 19th, and it's what, today is, it's been 5 days, so I got to feed it a little bit more, encourage more bacterial, like, you know, or like fermentation. And then the plan is to, you know, then this will be like the mother, right? So it'll be like a concentrated version, and then we'll mix it with some more ginger, some more sugar, and then bottle it, and then let natural fermentation happen and natural carbonization occur in the bottles. Kind of like how you make champagne. So this is kind of like my latest little project here to see how it does. I'm kind of wondering how this tastes with like coffee, like espresso. Another thing I've been wondering about is makgeolli, right? If you're familiar with makgeolli, makgeolli is this type of like Korean like rice wine. I've been wondering a lot about how that will go with espresso. All right, so we're getting close. 5 minutes, 45 seconds. Wilson's going to Vietnam to attend. Oh, excellent. Have a great time. Wilson, you're not from, are you from the United States? If you are, make sure that you get a visa. Don't be like me and be about to depart for Ho Chi Minh City and suddenly you're hosed, right? I was hosed. I was in Bangkok, Thailand, and then I realized that, oh my gosh, I had everything set up. I had flights reserved, paid for. I had a hotel room paid for. I had friends that I had lined up to go see. And then there was nothing because I forgot to get a visa. All right, so here we are. Like my friends in Manila, and in Thailand, they were like, we don't need visas. I said, yeah, but your country did it, like massacre and slaughter millions of their people. So I guess that's why. All right, so here we are. We are now doing the fall 6-minute brew time. To me, that really does seem like a lot. I'm telling you this now because I want to, you know, I want to be upfront about in case my preconceptions cloud my judgment in this, so that you can have a healthy dose of skepticism regarding what I might say. All right, so here we are. It's falling. Wilson, you were much more smarter than I was. And unfortunately, the idiocy on my part was not a long time ago. It was just back in May. All right, so it's falling. We're 7 minutes overall. This is a long time, man. It's going to be like a heavy-duty brew. We're using a lot finer of a grind. Like you can see this. You can see the difference in fineness between... I wonder if I should have accounted for the fall in the 6 minutes. All right, so we end up now with, about 300 some milliliters. It smells heavier. Not terribly heavier, but a little bit heavier. It does smell like a thicker brew for sure. How's the coloration? Coloration, maybe a little bit deeper of color, maybe. Maybe. Oh, while you're in Vietnam, I don't know if you're going to be in Ho Chi Minh City, but if you are in Ho Chi Minh, go see. I'll find out by tomorrow. At my friend's place, I can't remember his name at this very moment. The name escapes me. I'm like, oh my gosh. Will Firth. Go see Will Firth. He's got a shop, and then Hua Lin. I think Hua Lin is her name. There's actually a couple of videos. Like there's a video. There's 2 videos on the channel from about April or May, probably more May. That has 2 friends, both girls, and they're coffee producers or coffee importers. They produce really beautiful stuff, like really fantastic stuff. One is titled The Empress of Coffee, and the other one is Hua Lin, and she's making Vietnamese iced coffee. Her Robusta was, gosh, superb. So check out those videos and then look them up when you go to Ho Chi Minh. I'm sure they're going to be at the coffee show. If you're going to the coffee show, I'm sure they're going to have a booth there. Go see them. Tell them I said hello. All right. Ooh. All right. So we're going to have to say this was total closer to 7 minutes because of the amount of time that it takes to fall. That is way heavily extracted. Like, it gives the coffee the character of a dark roast, that heaviness, that weightiness, that kind of like extra bitterness. Definitely, I don't like it. Like compared to yesterday's brew, the multi-steep and release was much more fun, much more lighter, friendly, enjoyable. This is like heavy and like all of the nuance and the excitement of the Peru has been like kind of like tamped down by this heavy weight. That's kind of like if you were to dark roast the coffee and brew it, and you get that heaviness. That's what I'm tasting here. You can even see it's definitely a darker, deeper color than we normally see. All right, I'm going to say I don't like it. I didn't like it. Maybe with different coffee. Maybe lighter roasted coffee. Like super, super light roasted coffee. Perhaps that might be the way to go. I think the 4 to 6 minute guideline, it's like, come on, man. That's way too long. 6 minutes in my mind seems way too long for any coffee brewing. Why he gave this range of 4 to 6, I don't really understand. If I was to do this again, I would stay definitely tighter to 4 minutes. Maybe just do the brew, and then because of the drop time, factor that in, and then start the drop at 3 minutes so that you finish by 4. I think that's probably going to be the better result. Who knows? Maybe we'll try that tomorrow. See how it goes. I don't know. But I'm going to look up some more recipes so that we can try them. We still got a few more days this week, so hopefully we can find something really enjoyable. Though the multi-steeper release, can't say it was bad. All right, so that's pretty much it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Back again tomorrow with more of the Next Level Pulsar Brewer, 10 a.m. Tomorrow will be Wednesday, and yeah, there it is. All right, so hope you guys have a great day out there. Enjoy your brewing. Eat more conchas, right? If you find a Mexican panaderia near you, bakery, go get some conchas and brew yourself some coffee. Gosh, I've been eating a lot of those. It's really bad, actually, but I've been eating quite a few. I've been testing new bakeries. I found this place called Dulce Panaderia in a place called Essex, Maryland. I was out by Essex on Saturday. I was just like, what panaderia is near me? This place just opened in July, and man, they had nice texture, beautiful texture of like concha, soft, moist, sugary. And actually, I had this one called the Novia, which is kind of like, if you can imagine, a concha, but placed in like a muffin cup and the size of a muffin. It actually had, it has, of course, it has the chocolate sugar top, but it had a chocolatiness to the flavor of the dough. The dough was white, but it had this chocolatey character. Very interesting. I'm going to have to explore more on that. The Novia. All right, until tomorrow, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.